Welcome to the Strategic Oracle, the transmission space where timing meets soul and wealth begins with the rhythm. Let's begin. So here we are for the September forecast report. And September feels like it has two energies inside of it. And so what we'd like to think is that, we've got the take stock energy. Let's kind of build our foundation. And then we go into this big growth energy. It's actually the opposite. And we're so excited to have growth energy because we just dealt with a tension building pullback in August. So we're ready to let loose, right? Like Virgo's here. So it's Virgo season, but it's also the season of prosperity. We want to take advantage of all those seeds we've planted and all the things that can come to fruition. And we've got this big burst of energy in the first week, and we're like, hooray, this feels so good. But then at the end of the first week on the 7th, we've got an eclipse that then we have the pairing of the eclipse on the 21st. And so we know with eclipses, there's typically wait a minute, beautiful that we can set intentions and they will hold for 6 months. Loving that. Not so psyched about thinking about 6 months ago because it feels like 7 years at this point, and thinking about what is going to be revealed from what is hidden then, and then absolutely not happy about the fact that every eclipse is going to hide something. So whatever we do in those 2 weeks, something's going to be hidden. It's not going to be revealed until 6 months from now. So that's why I'm saying there's like this bifurcation of energy, and also that the equinox is on the 22nd. We've got that ecliptic moon on the 21st, and Saturn is involved. So it's like this huge, I called it the construct through limits. And so again, we've got this big push and big opening, yay! And we think everything's come together. Oh, wait a minute. It's like Mercury season in the first few weeks of the month, and it's Virgo, so it's very practical and detailed and putting all the things together. It could be super busy, and that busyness might make us feel like everything's awesome and we're going in the right direction. And then when we get to that eclipse, equinox, beautifully, the sun then moves into Libra. Yay, it's super soft, much more softer than when the sun's in Virgo. But then all of a sudden we're like, oh no, because the revealing can just come because we've moved into Venus. So there's connection. And then we move into Mars on the 22nd. And right then, and it takes us back to that Mars and Pluto confrontation that we dealt with all through 2024. So we don't want to move backwards. We don't want to be making these great strides and have us thinking that everything is just, super groovy. And then all of a sudden, crap, those 4 things that we did, waste of time or money, or gee, that person really isn't showing up. That's what it's going to more be like. It's going to be more about people than about thoughts as we get into the end of the month and as we get into Libra season. I have to tell you, October's yummy. So we want to position ourselves beautifully for that. And that Q4, which is October 1st through December 31st, is a great opportunity. There's lots of healing there. So we're going to have some things that come up that we might not be, super excited about. But the healing potential is just fabulous before we start off with this absolutely opportunity creation 2026. And so here we are in September. So September, in the report that is on my blog, I've written about the weeks, and I've written about the eclipse, and I've written about the magical tools, and I've written about those things that you can do in reading so you can digest it in a way that you can use throughout the month. I've also written an article for my LinkedIn newsletter, which will be released on the 4th on LinkedIn, that talks about internal guidance versus external guidance. So there's a very practical, strategic element of tools. And then there's that internal. Are you using your intuition? Are you using your inner knowing? That's what September is all about. And then I always write for The Edge magazine. We're going to put all those links in the show notes so you can go there. And I love writing for The Edge because I get to get my totally intuitive magic witchy witch on. And so I wrote about spirit guides. And so I'm getting very precise. If you've noticed over the last few months, I have taken, stock of what is working, what's not working, where I'm overgiving, where it's just like, quite frankly, so much pouring in and not receiving. And so I'm like, wow, if I am really wealth creating, I want to make sure I have that reciprocity and that flow beautifully set up. So I've really winnowed down on some things and wanted to give more value within each one of those things than just give more value across many things. So hopefully that's going to be really beautiful. I know it's beautiful for me and the audience. You guys are going to either love it or you're going to be like, I don't love it so much. And that's groovy too, right? So need to be aligned with yourself and need to be precise. That's the rhythm of you. That's the signal that you want to be sending out. So with that, let's talk about what you can do. I've got a really practical exercise for you coming up in a few moments. So pen, paper. If you're driving, you're going to make mental note and then you're going to get pen, paper when you get to the point where you can, because this is the time that we have that is in that Virgo energy of when you want to sharpen your pencils, when you want to kind of look at your calendar and look at details. Virgo loves the details. She loves to analyze things. So let's use her energy, not to nag us where, crap, this isn't perfect. Oh, this still needs to be done. But in the, ooh, okay, I'm going to take this beautiful energy and I am going to dot my I's, cross my T's. And so with that, when we look at the weeks as they unfold, as I said, we've got this beautiful Jupiter energy in the beginning. It feels lush and flush and all the things. Enjoy it, like totally enjoy it. And then when we get to those eclipses, take the time to do a little mini review. Now you're probably like, Kim, I just did the review. We just had August. We just had the Mercury retrograde. I just did that. I'm kind of out. Do it in a different way. And this is where the exercise is coming in. So pen, paper. What we want to do is we want to be able to lock in your discernment. And so here's what ends up happening. So people come to me, whether it's in a networking group or whether it's in a mastermind room or whether it's, on a connection call or sales call, or even in my group program. And they're, oh, hey, I am so connected. This is wonderful. And I'm setting my goals and I'm doing my vision and I'm making my intentions. And I have something called the morning incantation I give to everybody in my world. It's only 2 minutes, and you kind of go through your life and you're sorting yourself. And I'm reading their energy, and they're stress balls, or they're in their mind 100%, and there's no energy going beneath their throat. And so I look at him and I'm literally like, let's ground, right? So sometimes I say it out loud because if they're in my world, I will say it out loud. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just ground. So sometimes I walk into rooms and rooms are like, whoa. And it's not even the spiky energy. It's just more the like everybody's floating on the ceiling. And I'm like, wow, this ought to be fun. So then I just literally ground the room. Well, sometimes I do that when you're sitting in front of me in Zoom. Sometimes I do that even in this, like I'm literally grounding right now. We love Virgo because she's super grounded, but she's also persnickety. So sometimes not so much with the grounding. Sometimes it's, oh crap, I haven't done this, and oh crap, I haven't done that. So we don't want to be there. But my point that I'm making is in this state, people then come to me and said, yeah, but I thought about my intentions and I did my goals and this is awesome. And here's what I'm going to do. And my intuition, this is the kicker, my intuition kicked in fully constructed sentences and completely supporting exactly what their mind wanted. I'm just here to tell you that's not intuition. That's a great strategic thought, and your mind is brilliant, and yay, you. But when you are ungrounded and distracted or stressed, your mind is going to take the driver's seat and is going to not let your heart or soul have a conversation with you. Your mind's not being mean. Your mind's just trying to protect you. That's its job, but it's way overdoing its job. So what you want to do is you want to take those moments and get into a good space that you're grounded and you're engaged with yourself and you let your heart open and you let your belly have that weight of energy that in your embodiment, that's what Virgo's really all about. In that embodiment, you can then make an assessment. And from that point, you want to be discerning whether something is yours or not, whether it's a yes or a no. So it could be something really quick. You could have a great walking routine in the morning. Oh, and then either during that or after that, that's where you're making an assessment. In the shower, because it's giving your mind a job. That's where you always get beautiful epiphanies. You know, in a more concerted effort after you've set those intentions and those goals. Maybe you've read something really delicious. Maybe you've sat in silence for 1 minute with a beautiful cup of coffee or tea, and you just allowed yourself to be breathed, and you've really connected with you. And then it's from that space that you want to discern whether something is a yes or a no from you. Not in that I've got to just get to the end of the job. I got to do this. Got to do nope, nope, zing. Those are not going to be good yeses and nos. So for this exercise, what I'd love for you to do right now is I would love to get pen, paper, and I would love to draw like literally a square. You're making 4 boxes. And in those boxes, what I'd love for you to do is on the top right-hand side, write yes. On the top left-hand side, write no. If you do it backwards, doesn't matter. We're just doing it this way. And then for the yeses, what I'd like for you to do is take a little litmus test of what you've said yes to recently. So I'm a big yes girl, right? Like I say yes to way too many things. I spent the entire month of July saying no to stuff. But for me, I would do the exercise in the last 4 weeks. Have I really said no to anything? Maybe my July no's, because I did like 100 of them. Maybe those would outweigh that. Maybe not. So for me to do this exercise, I'd like to know in the last 4 weeks what I've said no to. And then what I've said yes to. Because yes, you just created stuff for yourself. Like you've got follow-up to do with that. You've got stuff to do. With the no's, you might still have stuff to do because you might need to unravel something or unwind something or have a conversation with somebody or whatever. So it doesn't mean like the no's are no work and the yeses are a ton of work. It could be the opposite. The yeses could be super easy. Somebody else is going to do something with you. And the no is like, oh, guess what? I've got a 4-step thing I've got to do. But what you're doing is you're taking that litmus and you're saying, where have I been engaging or disengaging lately? Interesting. But also it's a signal for you. It's a signal of what you're putting out there. Because if you're finding that you're meeting a lot of people or you're getting a lot of opportunities, and I'm going to talk about opportunities of support in a minute, but let's just stay on opportunities for a minute. You get a lot of opportunities and they're not yours. You want a signal switch because that means you're not riding the wave of the attraction frequency that is really your yes. Good to know. And then if you're a ton of yeses, groovy, because you're like, okay, signal's good. And yet you want to start prioritizing those. Which ones are going to add the most value for you? That's always your priority. Always. How is it going to help you create the vision that you have set up for yourself? But underneath that, I know you have still 2 more boxes. Underneath the yes, I want you to write opportunities. And underneath the no, I want you to write support. Now, here's an interesting little factoid. Intuitive visionaries, ruling warriors, and creative superstars are more apt to say yes to opportunities than wise strategists, collaborative explorers, or loving alchemists. Just a thing. Doesn't mean it's good or bad. And if you're a loving alchemist and you say to me, oh, I've just made, 10 yeses for opportunities, awesome sauce. And recognize how deep you want to go. So then you really want to prioritize and, throughout the month of September, set things up for yourself. But in Q4, really look at how those are unfolding. Because, just as the saying goes, I can't remember if it was the Dalai Lama or Buddha who said, you'd rather read a book 1,000 times than read 1,000 books once. Now, that crushes my heart a little bit because I'm like 1,000 books? Hello, intuitive visionary. I'm definitely going to do that. And yet I find that there's a handful or 2 that I keep going back to. And those are really the golden nuggets for me. Same thing with opportunities. Why would you be on 15 podcast episodes in the next, 3 to 4 weeks when really probably 3 of them are really the ones that are aligned with you? And then it doesn't mean you have to say no to those other where my 12. It just means that you want to just put those and spool those out to sometime later. And you want to make sure you're weaving a beautiful pattern together so that you always are steeping in that beautiful message that you have and leading people to the same place, so that now you could actually take those handful and you could curate them and build a beautiful story about that, or article about that, or a topic of conversation about that. So that's what we want to do. We want to be in your best energy first and foremost. So you've taken those few breaths, you've unwound a little bit. You can feel your feet. That happens to me all the time. People in my groups are always like, can you feel my feet? I'm like, no. And then we go in and I talk for like 5 minutes. I ground everybody in through my voice, which I'm doing right now for you, letting you breathe, letting you feel your whole body, feel your feet tingling, your fingertips tingling. Now you're in your body. And then you can think about something super delicious. Maybe it's your favorite food or your favorite smell, or maybe you're walking outside. Maybe you just have this luscious moment for yourself. Now you're vibing a little bit more in tune with what you want to vibe with and how you want to vibe. And then think of your biggest wish or a beautiful, delicious wish coming true. Now you're in your vibe. Now think of something you're thinking, I'm not sure. Sometimes the yeses are super easy and the clear no's are super easy, but it's in those maybes. And then let's think, is it an opportunity for growth? Or is it a support to help you and to solidify your foundation? Does it really serve you? Does this person or opportunity really have your best interests at heart? Is it going to add value to your vision? Yes or no? Usually a yes is a little bit of a lightning, a little bit of an opening, a little bit of a quick whisper, and a no feels heavy, or it feels just a little bit of constriction. And then you're going to give yourself permission to say no. And you're going to set yourself up for success to say yes. And both of those things take a beat. So this is a September forecast report. So I recognize that, but Virgo, she wanted us to be super practical and go through an exercise that can help you from now until forever. So yay. But from a magical perspective, what energies wanted to come in? Lapis lazuli is the crystal. And I adore lapis because in the blue category it is for upper chakras, but lapis is so opening, it opens up your heart too. So when your mind's running amok, lapis is a great tool to bring in so that you can widen the lens a little bit on those things that seem to be immediate and interrupting. Now, squirrel came in, and we can think about that. We joke about having a squirrel mind, right? Squirrel's not really about that. Squirrel's about gathering. So let's shift that perspective too, to say, so the squirrel, yes, running around flitting and whatever, but what if we used that gathering energy to gather pieces or information or a pause moment to be able to make a really good decision? Then willow is the flower essence. And I love willow because willow lets you let go of things and slights and resentments and just residue that isn't yours. So that flower essence is beautiful. And then I adore the oracle card. It's the 8 for satisfy. And that's such a heart-based word. That's not a mind-based word. Like the mind, sure, your mind's satisfied to learn something new. Your mind's satisfied to find an answer. I guess that could be the same thing or different, to solve a problem. But it's not really satisfying. Satisfying is like satiating. It's more sensorial than that. It's a deeper energy. So I tell people often to, when they're looking to get out of their mind, give your mind a job. That's one way to do it. Another way is to, what we just talked about, get into that really groovy space, give yourself some time and some silence. If it's too much for that, I say two things. One is to drop into your heart, do something that gives you joy, singing or walking or, having fun, laughing, talking to your friend, and or sensorial. That's where a candle scent or a beautiful crystal with a color or a piece of jewelry. So that's where you can drop your energy out of your mind and go into your lower parts of your body. And all of these magical tools will help you do that. You could use one, you could use all of them. And now when we're looking at our signatures, I had mentioned who is more apt to pursue opportunities versus not. I will tell you though, when we get into the signatures, the wise strategist, you're digging this energy, man, because you adore the Virgo steps and analysis and metrics and reports. So enjoy, enjoy. This is your season. For you, intuitive visionary, you don't mind it either because it's very active. However, the caution is not to do too much because things will be coming in. This exercise that we just did is perfect for you. Collaborative explorer, you are getting ready for Libra time because that's in the connective time. Also, that Venusian time right before the eclipse might feel really good for you too. It's not going to feel great because people are going to be distracted for you for the first few weeks. And you're going to say to yourself, wait a minute, I had a call with you, or we were going to follow up on something. Just chill about it. It doesn't serve you to get aggravated. Just let go and revisit it after the eclipse time. For you, ruling warrior, it is going to be really hard for you not to want to just push through this because there is that beautiful surge in that first week. I would say take advantage of the first week and just let the follow through happen in week 4, and just through week 2 and week 3, give yourself a quest. Like, I have a quest. I want to reach out to 100 people, or I want to do XYZ before Q4. I want to get ready for strategy. That would be a really good time for you to get ready for your strategy time. For you, creative superstar, you are going to be risking a little bit of your energy because there's just so much going on. So it's like, ideate. Yay, I got a great idea. Ooh, do I build it? Do I create it? Ooh, I got another great idea. Do I create it? Ooh, I got another great idea. Do I create it? So allow yourself to just focus on one thing. Just create one of those things. And then for you, loving alchemist, it is a really wonderful time for you to allow that really deep energy that you adore to give you that opening, and let Virgo do her thing. You can actually work really well within it because you're deep enough not to let it get swept away. So that is what September is all about. There's a beautiful invitation not to push harder or hustle or effort. There's a gorgeous ability to get into that beautiful internal guidance, get your gyroscope activated, and you can really feel your own rhythm. Because that's the truth of it. When we get into 2026, it's going to be rhythm and restoration. I don't know if that's entirely true. I know that it's somewhat true, but I'm still opening that energy. So more to come on that. But September, this is your time. This is your time. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time to be here. And we've all said yes. So with that, happy soul tidings. You've been listening to the Strategic Oracle, where success isn't scaled from speed, but from soul. If this stirred something real, follow it. Apply for activation, enter the vault, or pause right here. Integration is leadership too. Because the truth is, you were never meant to chase the timing. You are meant to become it.